ಸೊಲ್ಲಾದರೆ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವಿಟಿ
ಸರ್
ಏನು ಕೊಡಿಸಿ ಸೊಲ್ಲಾದರೆ
Hi, welcome to the course MMPM02 Block 1 Unit 2. I am Dr. Ashok Kumar Das, Assistant Professor in Marketing and Strategy. I will try to take you through the journey of different selling situations, and the specific topic that we are going to have a discussion today is on diversity of selling situations. It is a pretty interesting and important subject for discussion purely because of the fact that as a salesperson you do not normally face the same situation twice. You are dealing with different customers, you are dealing with different kind of groups of people, you are dealing with different kind of institutions. Whatever may be the scenario for you, you are not going to be facing the same scenario twice. Chances are that if you are lucky enough, you might be dealing with a pretty good to well-defined homogeneous groups of customers, but that is just a kind of a theoretical imagination. And to begin with, let me tell you something pretty interesting. When you're dealing with different situations and you're dealing with different people, the key to achieve success is that you have got to train your brain into believing that no two individuals are same, no two situations can be alike, and I cannot really try and go with the same kind of input to try and please each and every possible kind of an individual. So when you are trying to generate sales out of your sales pitch, or you're trying to be talking to customers to mold them into your company, into your product, into your service, you have to try and think differently. How do you try and think differently, or why should you try and think differently? Because like I already told you that you are going to be dealing with different kind of situations, and in a country as diverse as India, I think if you really go north or go south, go east or go west, people are diametrically opposite from each other. Be it the nature of food habits, be it the way they live their life, be it the product that they consume, be it the preference that they show for any kind of services. I think you won't find a bigger diverse country than India in the entire planet. So to take you through this diversity of selling situations, I just want to make you aware at the very beginning that you have got to have the sense to appreciate that I have got to really try to execute my plans in totally different kind of ways. If you become pretty much predictable or monotonous in your approach, failure is exactly knocking at your door. To get out of this failure syndrome, you have got to understand the fact that human brain is a kind of black box. It doesn't really reveal things pretty easily, pretty quickly. So you have to unravel the mystery called human brain. When you are trying to unravel the mystery, like I said, you have got to appreciate one thing, that I have got to go as close, as near as the human thinking process. Well, we are dealing with a very interesting kind of time, and we have got enough research on neuromarketing, and we are trying to study the psyche of the customer. We are trying to really go deep into his thinking process, her thinking process, and of course we can really try to come up with miraculous kind of findings. This is how the consumer was thinking while I was pitching for this. Sometimes you might find it pretty frustrating, pretty boring, and sometimes pretty interesting and pretty rewarding as well, because you are going to be pitching the right product to the right customers. That is a rarity. And most of the time, you'll find that you are pitching the right product maybe to the wrong customer, or you are pitching the wrong product to the right customer maybe. Whatever may be the scenario, you have got to try to appreciate the fact that I have got to vary my pitch. I have got to really try to do it in a different way in order to achieve success. Now, when you talk about diversity of selling situations, we must understand that when you are doing this personal selling, you are trying to involve yourself with the direct communication. You are involving yourself with the direct communication between paid representatives and prospects, leading to transactions, customer satisfaction, account development, and profitable relationships. If you heard me carefully, I told you that these are going to be dealing with representatives and prospects. So who is a prospect? A prospect is someone who has shown the promise. He has got the wherewithal to really try and buy your product or enjoy your services, and he can potentially become your customer if you really try to insist him and try to really link him with the kind of product that he is really in need of. And you are really going to be making it very interesting for him so that he shows a positive reference, positive kind of a feeling for your product and your services. And something else is also important. Look, when you're trying to sell a product, you're not selling a product as such. You are not selling a physical dimension of product. You are trying to sell the emotions, the experiences, the company's image, like I said, the corporate image. And end of the day, you are also trying to sell yourself. That is pretty crucial to understand. When you are trying to sell yourself, you have got to be ready to understand that you are dealing with someone who is a living entity, someone who can understand emotion that you really try to demonstrate to him or her, someone who has got his own emotion, you have got to really be careful in understanding that, and someone who is really going to be emoting well so that you can really figure out on your own whether this is the right time to pitch for the product, pitch for the service or not. People are always going to be giving you clues. You have to be smart enough to understand that here is a negative clue, I should really stay away from it, or here is a positive clue, I should really try and bank on it, and here is a neutral clue, I will try to change this neutral clue into a positive clue. So customer satisfaction is again another kind of area where different kind of selling situations really arise. If you look back in the history and you go back in your memory lane, customers in the early 70s or even the late 70s or even early 80s to some extent, they were a little bit hesitant to really try to experiment with new products. They were pretty happy the way things were really being doled out to them. They were pretty much satisfied the way the companies used to manufacture the product and sell it to them. They were simply passively receiving the kind of pitches being made by the sales guys. And salespeople used to have a pretty nice fine time with those kind of customers because they were not so much curious, they were not so much alert, they were not so much informative, and most important, they are not so much discerning as well. So when you deal with customers of today, like the Gen Z and all, you are dealing with a pretty smart, pretty alert, and pretty much vigilant kind of a customer who has got all kind of information at his own fingertips. So when you're dealing with customers who are knowledgeable, who are really pretty smart enough, then you are trying to take the customer satisfaction level to another kind of level where probably you might just at the end of the day, get to the satisfaction level of the customer. And the next crucial thing you should really understand is account development. When you are trying to deal with corporate clients, when you're doing this institutional selling, not a personal selling to an individual customer, you have got to appreciate the fact that developing an account in a big corporate requires some real good genuine kind of sticking to your activities, trying to be persuasive enough, trying to have faith on your own abilities, trying to understand what really works, how does it work in the corporate, who is the key guy who has got to be pleased, and how do you take this entire activity further. And like I said, you are doing business, you are not doing charity, so you have got to have a profitable relationship. Now what is a profitable relationship? The customer is getting benefited because he has got his dream product. You are getting benefited because you have got your dream customer. There is nothing called a dream customer, there is nothing called a dream product. But when a customer is exceptionally happy, exceptionally satisfied with the product that you have really provided to him, probably he will feel that yes, here is a product that I was looking forward to, and now this product is really going to be solving all my problems. And you are going to get a dream customer in the way because this customer is going to be having his unflinching, total committed support, total committed kind of loyalty to a company of yours or to the product that you represent. Okay. The terms personal selling and salesmanship are often used interchangeably, but there are key differences. Let's understand what is the difference between salesmanship and personal selling. Salesmanship, as you will understand, is the seller-initiated effort providing information and motivating buyers, while personal selling is a distinctive form with two-way communication, incorporating individual and social behavior to bring the right products to the right customers. So there is a key difference, as you can pretty well understand. Salesmanship is just a seller-initiated effort. You are providing information and you are motivating buyers. Look, this is my product. This is what my product can do for you guys. And this is how you are going to be trying to influence the customer's opinions or the feelings. Okay. And when you are doing this personal selling, you are engaging yourself in a very distinctive way in which you are trying to understand who is in front of me, who that customer is. Like I told you in the beginning, no two customers are exactly identical. They can never be, right? So you cannot really pitch the same way, same style, same tone, same voice to the two different kind of customers and expect good, positive, vibrant kind of a response from both these two different or distinctive kind of individuals. So you have to understand the individual behavior and the social behavior so that you are able to identify which product is exactly going to be fitting to which kind of customers. For example, like this is the theory that really is really going to be, elaborating on the diversity of selling situations. If you go to the real practical field, let's talk about the average car buyer in a country like ours, India. If you see the car buyers psychology, there are people who are really looking for a pretty posh, pretty premium kind of a car, because for them car is really going to make a luxury statement about who they are. This is a kind of snob appeal that they really have about themselves. They just want to demonstrate to the world, look, I'm getting out of my big Mercedes, I'm getting out of my big BMW cars and all these big cars. But look at the average individual who has got a ceiling of price. He has got a ceiling like, I have got to buy a car whose price should not or cannot exceed, let's say, 8 to 9 lakhs. So he is looking for so many attributes like, does it really give me the right kind of mileage? Does it give me the right kind of resale value? Can I really go for a low maintenance kind of a cost kind of a car? Is it really going to accommodate all my family most comfortable? Well, he may not be truly genuinely interested in all the technicalities like whether the ground clearance is too good or not, what the CC of this particular car, and all these kind of things. So when you deal with scenarios like this, you have to understand that the individual is really going to be appreciating a product only when he is really having a ceiling of budget and he has got a clarity of his mind. Look, this is the product that is really going to suit me, and that is not the product which is really meant for me. So he has got to really take a kind of stand regarding how you really pitch for them and what kind of response you are supposed to get from them. It manifests in various forms, including calls by sales representatives. I'm talking about the personal selling part, assistance from a sales staff, or informal invitations between company executives. In sales management, it serves the purpose of creating product awareness, stimulating interest, developing brand preference, and negotiating prices. The first thing that you do in dealing with customers is you are trying to create product awareness. Many customers will find they're ill-informed or not well-informed, you can say, and they really do not know that you are existing in the market. They don't really care to really figure out how many customers, how many products are there in the market for a particular kind of product category. That's not their business. It is your business to really try to create product awareness with the customers. Why should they really be trying to be finding out how many brands of soaps, how many brands of detergent powder, how many brands of cars are available in the market? That's not my cup of tea. I should not really get too much into it. That's not my detailing that I should be really telling to myself. So you have got to not stop at that. Having created the product awareness, your next most important responsibility is try to stimulate interest. There comes the role of a very active, very agile kind of a salesperson. You have got to be really smart enough to understand what really motivates the customer. Is he a self-motivated kind of a person, or you have to really take active interest in creating that interest in that particular kind of customer? It has got to be stimulated more often than not by a person like you. And if the customer is already using the product, you have to really try to tell them, look, this is my company, this is my product, you better try for it. And if you really feel that this product is good enough for you, why not try to switch from your existing brand to my kind of a brand? In doing that, you are just trying to make a customer switch from his pre-existing brand to your brand. That is what I call as developing a brand preference. And of course, when a customer is ready, now it's ready to sign on the dotted lines, you are going to be negotiating prices. And negotiation is a pretty funny business in our country, India. Every human being that you come across has got this nasty habit of negotiating for just about everything. I mean, I was just looking at a pretty funny, interesting advertisement where a rocket is to be launched, and in the crowd there is a Punjabi, an Indian Punjabi. Everybody is asking for the technicalities, the beauty of it and all, and the Punjabi guy is asking for kitna deti hai. So that is, you can say, in the blood of every Indian. I included, of course. Okay, and you are going to be negotiating prices and negotiating it for your own benefit, for the benefit of the customer as well. Recognizing the diversified nature of personal selling, there is an emphasis on discussing its growing importance, changing role, functions, and processes, which we are going to be discussing now. Why there is growing importance of personal selling? I think personal selling is driven by several factors. For example, you are dealing with a lot many products. We say that this is product complexity. Highly technically complex products like computers and smartphones, they rely more on personal selling compared to simpler FMCG products. If you are buying a computer or a laptop or a smartphone, then you are going to be doing a lot of research. You ask any youngster of today and ask him, look, you are going to be buying the next smartphone. Tell me, how do you really take a decision? He is going to tell you 101 things. I will go by the reviews of it, I'll go by the technicalities of it, I'll go by the reputation of the company that is really going to be selling the product. I will also go by the number of sales that the company has been able to generate in the last 6 months. I will again go by whether the longevity of the smartphone is bigger or not. And he is really going to be doing a complete, thorough, genuine research regarding what exactly is going to be my choice of smartphone. So they rely more on personal selling, because in a personal selling mode, you are more able, more kind of conversant in trying to really talk to a customer and figure out his questions, his queries, his kind of genuine concerns. And in personal selling mode, when you are dealing with the client or the customer himself or herself, you are in a position to really try to neutralize all his queries. If the queries are negative, then you can really try and thwart it and try and tell the customer, look, this is the answer that you are really seeking for, and this is what the product can really do for you. Don't go by the people who are going to be claiming negative things or telling negative things about my product, my company and all. This requires the genuine understanding of the fact that the complex product is a product which is also going to be involving the customer in a very big way. Because the customer is not really technically so sound, he cannot take a decision on his own, so he's dependent on somebody who is really technically good or technically better off. Okay, so when you deal with complex products, ensure that you are going to go for personal selling. And the second issue that I want to raise is regarding competition. Intense competition, both from within your own country, domestic, and from abroad, foreign countries, elevates the role of salesperson in a firm's marketing efforts. So if you are a salesperson, you are trying to meet your client, you are trying to, advocate for your own product, advocate for your own services, you might just as well be able to appreciate that, well, here is a competition, here is the kind of key features of my competing products, and this is my kind of benefit that I want to offer to you people, and try to figure out which one is really going to be suiting you more. Many times it has been observed that just because you have got more features, you don't really try and rule the customer's thinking. Your features are your features as long as the customer really doesn't appreciate it. Your features really don't make any sense to customer. So you might be feature rich kind of a mobile phone, or you might be feature rich kind of a car, you might be a feature rich kind of anything. But the customer has got to understand and really try and like the features that you are really claiming to be purchased by your product and services. So when you talk about these kind of intricacies, these kind of complexities, the role of personal selling really becomes pretty interesting. Okay, then there is this consumer inertia. Sales efforts overcome consumer reluctance by acting as catalyst. You are going to be persuading a customer who is not willing to buy your product, not because he doesn't have money, but because of the fact that he is not really eager to buy your product. So sometimes the consumer will take its life pretty easy, pretty relaxed and pretty much kind of cut off and all. I just don't want to purchase many more products. If I have got one car, I don't want to go for the second car. If I've got one bike, I don't want to go for the second bike. If I've got one mobile phone, second mobile phone is not needed for me. But as a salesperson, as a kind of agent of personal selling, it is your responsibility to try and persuade the customer into the second one, be it a car or be it a bike or be it a mobile phone or be it anything for that matter. You are trying to generate that extraordinary interest in the customer's mind, acting as a catalyst. You are stimulating the consumption process. You are telling the customer, use more, buy more, spend more. That is going to be benefiting you. But you are at the same time helping the customer understand that this product is really going to be enhancing your lifestyle, or this service is really going to be making a nice, good statement about who you are. Informational needs might be there. See, there are some products which really require special information. Sales representatives serve as consultants. Like if you talk about any financial related products, for example, you will find that an insurance guy doesn't really go and kind of sends you a message or sends you a brochure in WhatsApp and expects that the sale is going to be closed. He invariably always finds that he is really in front of the customer, sitting in front of me and trying to inform consumers about the technicalities and the other kind of stuff. So if you are buying or you are investing heavily on financial products, you are having more information needs that is going to be provided by a personal selling effort only. Industrial products, talking about industrial products, this is a high value and complex kind of products, often replacing traditional advertising and promotion mix, because personal selling is the only way in which industrial products can be sold. You cannot advertise about your copper and manganese and nickel and aluminum and stuff like that into another kind of farm, which is just going to buy it because you are the manufacturer of it, or you are the kind of seller of it. So you have got to really use personal selling for that purpose as well. FMCG companies both, they use both personal selling as well as advertising, and personal selling is tactically employed to intensify efforts during product launches due to its effectiveness. Personal selling is done in sporadic incidents, like they really do not go to each and every customer. But when there is a product launch session going on, they are really trying to take care to each and every customer present in the hall or present in the theater where they are probably going to be doing this launching activity. By that, they are ensuring that here is my company who is really going to be taking care of your emotional kind of feelings and all, and I am going to ensure that all the customers present in the hall, they are really going to have a fast and good positive experience regarding how good my products are. Product launch stage is another criteria. When you talk about personal selling, this is probably, to my mind, it's more effective during product launches. And this is exemplified by companies like Eureka Forbes and Johnson & Johnson, successfully using it for premium and sensitive products respectively. So when you're launching a new product, be it your Eureka Forbes, the company which has really penetrated into each and every part of this country, and the most respected, revered company like Johnson & Johnson for the baby product and all, okay, they are very smart in understanding that it requires human touch and nothing but human touch to really try to help the customer negate their fears, negate their apprehensions regarding how the product can possibly go wrong, or how the product can be worst product has really kind of complained by the competitors and all. So you are going to be using it for your own premium and sensitive products. Okay. So what are the factors that really drive personal selling in the Indian context? Personal selling, like I told you, is extensively used to supplement pan-India media for effective promotional objectives. If you are present in pan-India and you are going to be thinking that, well, this is a kind of a big market that I have got to address, then you have got to use personal selling for your own purpose. You have to find out the cost-effective alternative. Companies with budget constraints find personal selling more reliable than large-scale advertising, for the purely simple reason that when I'm advertising, I'm not pretty sure who is watching my advertisement. I'm not pretty sure whether the right customer is watching it or not. I'm not pretty sure whether the customer is really going to be listening to the advertisement or watching it and then is going to come back and buy the product. I'm not very sure of it. So if I have got budget constraint, I have got to ensure that I deploy a more suitable or more effective, rather say, a personal selling method to really try to have my kind of impact in the market. And personal selling also supports the distribution system. The vast network of distribution systems relies on manufacturer sales force for market coverage and development. You see many companies, although they are advertising big size, they are advertising within big budget banners and all, but still they are having their own people who really go and meet the clients, meet the retailers, the wholesalers, the dealers, the distributors, try and talk about the product, ensure that the product is stored in the shelf space, and also ensure that the product is having a smooth migration from the shelf space to the customer's hand. So this is pretty important to understand. And low literacy level can be another reason. In regions with low literacy, personal selling is highly effective in product adoption, especially in rural markets. See, if you have ever gone to a village, if you talk to a person living in a small village, he really doesn't really get kind of carried away by this glossy advertisements or this kind of esoteric talks by good kind of movie stars or cricketers or something of that sort who have really achieved fame in their own kind of chosen field. They are more likely to get motivated by people who really go to them, talk to them personally, behave as if they are one among them, and try to ensure that the product that they are trying to talk about are genuinely good, and the villager or the guy in the rural areas has got a requirement for it, or if he doesn't have the requirement, this guy is so adept in really creating a requirement for the rural market that he can really go and convince it with only one kind of thing in his mind, that rural market listens to people more, listens to persons more than getting really affected by the so-called glees of advertising. Consumer orientation is another kind of thing. Indian consumers valuing the best value for their money prefer personal selling, aligning with the high marginal value of the rupee. When they are face to face with the sales guy and the mode is personal selling mode, so they are more oriented towards negotiating the price, negotiating the number of product that they are going to get, and they're really basically going for a deal of it. So it's like, can I really take that extra stuff? Can I really ask for that extra favor? Can I really ask for something which is really not offered to me on a platter? So this is how the Indian consumers really respond to personal selling efforts. So what are the situations which are really conducive for personal selling? Personal selling, as you might have really understood till now, is deemed effective and efficient in specific marketing situations. Like I talked about it, although its economic efficiency compared to other elements of the marketing mix should be thoroughly evaluated. You are deploying a person, you are paying him for his activity, you are not pretty sure whether he is really going to be coming back in the evening and really try and kind of feel proud that yes, I have been able to generate this kind of sales. You're not very sure of it. Sometimes the salesperson goes to the market, comes back with a pretty poker face and says, look, this is what I have really tried. I have really talked to 100 customers, but I could really be able to convert only 3 or 4. So that is an abysmally low figure, to say the least. Okay. So what are the situations which are really conducive for personal selling? The first situation is that when a product has a high unit value, such as Xerox machines or computers, probably a person is going to be really listening to a person who is an authorized representative of the company than just buying the product because he has seen a pretty flashy advertisement on in his TV screens and all. So that is again another kind of scenario where the product has got to be having a unit value which is high, and the customer is really looking forward to listening to a person directly face to face, because that is really going to be giving him confidence. Yes, here is a product which is really good for me, and this is really going to be giving me good value for my money, and I should really be buying this product. That's it. So during the introductory stage of the product life cycle, you are going to require the creation of core demand. If you have heard about the product life cycle, you have got 4 stages of it: introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. I believe you all are conversant about it. But the fact is, when you are in the first stage, the introduction stage, and you are supposed to generate more kind of core demand for your product. So how you create that kind of core demand for your product? You create that kind of demand for your product in the introduction stage only by personal selling situations. Okay. Why? Because the consumer is absolutely uninitiated. He doesn't know ABC of your company and your product and who you are, what you represent, how credible you are. So in order to generate that credibility, in order to generate that authenticity of your product and services, you have got to appreciate that this has to be done through the personal selling method. For products needing personal attention to match specific consumer needs, like insurance policies, I do not really go for a blanket, kind of a policy, kind of coverage for about just about any term we can have in the market. I go to a person, I really try to figure out what exactly he is really in need of. Like I go and find out what is his, stage of life cycle. I mean, what kind of age he is in, what kind of plans he has got for future, how exactly this policy is going to be helping this particular family when he is having a nuclear family. How do you deal with that? If he is really part of a big, kind of extended family, how do you deal with that? All these kind of things really requires personal attention. No advertisement can ever replace the importance of a personal salesperson who is really going to be trying to be going near to the customer, trying to educate him regarding how the product really works and how it can possibly work for him, and then only the consumer is going to be convinced. That is, acceptable thing. When a product requires demonstration, especially when you are talking about industrial products where products really require demonstration, you are going to go and demonstrate this is how it works, this is how it doesn't work, this is what are its key features, these are what we don't promise to you. So when you are trying to demonstrate your product, you are going to really go for a personal selling method, because that is the only way, rather I would say that is the best way in which you can really try and convince your industrial client about how good your product is. And of course, let me not forget that you have got products which really require after sale service. And when after sale service comes in India, you are kind of sitting on the head of the sales service or the service guy who really comes to your place and replaces your product or modifies it, does some kind of technical kind of activities on the product so that you really get a proper after sale service. You talk about going to a car showroom or a bike showroom, or you talk about even a pretty small thing like you go for your own water purifier. So this really requires a genuine concern of a person. That is a part of the personal selling. In cases where a product has no brand loyalty or very poor brand loyalty, in case you are not a loyal customer, you don't really believe in the loyalty to any brand or any kind of company or any kind of product or any kind of distributor or any kind of person, you are not at all a brand loyal kind of person. If that is the case, you have got to ensure that this product is being sold through personal selling methods only. Now, coming to the core topic of today, like diversity of selling situations, there can be 4 or 5 scenarios. So let me really try to go one by one. In a company selling to a smaller number of large size buyers, you are trying to sell your product to large size buyers whose number is very big, but you are trying to sell to a very pocket group of customers. Like they say, we are kind of taking our product to masses, but the number of people in the mass is pretty huge, but that particular group of people is very small. So when that happens, then you have got to really try to kind of go for a different kind of method. When a company operates in a small local market, government or institutional market, if it is a small local market, like they say, even if you are a global company and you are operating in a local market, you have to adopt a very popular way of trying to tell it is a local kind of a marketing strategy. You have to really think global but act local. So you have to think that you are operating in a small local market. Your strategy has to be different. Rather, if you feel that I am going to be adopting the same marketing strategy or the same selling strategy that I have adopted in a big market with sophisticated customers, with a huge number of customers, and try to replicate the same in a small local market, then you are going to be an abject mega failure. In government scenarios, things are totally different. You have to go through sometimes, maybe I may be sounding pretty wrong, but the fact is, in a government kind of mechanism, you have got to understand how it really operates. What is the hierarchy like? What is the procedure like? How will it start, and who is the key person to whom I have got to go and touch and to convince and kind of get converted into? That will requires a lot of patience. The way you really try to deal with a private entity and the way you deal with a government entity, probably the government entity is really going to be taking one notch time above than the private entity, where the decision making is pretty quick and pretty easy also. But the government mechanism has got its own kind of style of functioning. But the result is, in a government mechanism, the result is pretty much lasting. Okay, once it is yes, it stays yes. There is no way in which it can really be changed pretty quickly. And if you are dealing with an institutional market, well, the motivations of the institutional market is totally different. You have got the whole big hierarchy. You have got every kind of project officers. You have got every kind of people from different kind of domains, from finance, from HR, from sales, from marketing, from IT, from R&D, and a whole lot of group of people who are going to be really trying to put forward their own cases, their own logics, their own arguments, their own bit of things. By that time, probably you must have realized that I have got to have a kind of one size fits all kind of approach is not really going to working for me. When desired middlemen or agents are not readily available, so this can be another kind of scenario where you have to go direct to the customer. There is no middleman available, there is no agent available, and they are not really willing to really try to take your product forward or take your services forward. This can really be pretty much bothering you. In situations where an indirect channel of distribution is used for selling to merchant middlemen only, this can be pretty much troublesome for you as well. So, what are the situations which are really conducive for personal selling? Company situation. When a company is unable to identify and utilize suitable non-personal communication media, if you are not able to identify non-personal communication media, like the advertising agencies are going to be helping you out, but they really do not understand which media is really going to be working perfectly for you, and you are not really pretty sure that, well, I will be really able to identify this particular kind of media for myself. When you are not able to do it, probably personal selling is really going to be coming to your rescue. So you are going to be taking the help of the personal selling channel where you are not going to find your non-personal communication media. In cases where a company cannot afford to have a large and regular advertising outlay, when you are a small company or you are a startup or you are a kind of company which is really going to be starting tomorrow morning, and you really don't have enough budget for you for to be spent on advertising and all, because nowadays advertising has become pretty costly. I'm not talking about digital media, of course, but in general advertising has really become very costly affair. And if you are a new company or if you are a startup, then probably your budget is absolutely going to be in a tight kind of situation. So what do you do there? You try to deploy the same age-old trusted practice of having people in your payrolls who are going to be taking your words, taking your products, taking your services, taking your company's reputation forward and try to create customers. There can be consumer behavior situations as well. What can that be? Personal selling, to my mind, is more effective when purchases are valuable but infrequent. If you are buying expensive items, if you are highly involved with the product, and you are not buying it very frequently, then of course personal selling is the best way in which you can really try and reach out a customer. Very simple reason, very simple logic, that the consumer is not really going to be buying frequently. It's not a routine purchase behavior, as they say in consumer behavior study. If it is not a routine purchase behavior, then you cannot really try and expect that the consumer is really going to be showing interest for advertisements and all, because he is not really going to be buying it every day. It is a once in a blue moon kind of a purchase affair. So in that sense, you have got to ensure that this is going to be done by personal selling and personal selling only. When consumers need instant answers to the questions, you don't really try and give toll-free number for all your queries, dial it up and try to sort it out. I don't have time to really try and kind of dial this toll-free number and expect that I'm going to be pressing 1, 2, 3, 4 to 9 and again wait for someone else to really try to respond me back. After 30 minutes, no one really picks up. I hang it up and then I said, fine, I am not going to try it again. The next time around, you are absolutely sure that this is not really going to work. There are exceptions, I don't deny that, but a consumer is more often than not is always in a tearing hurry. He just wants his answers to his questions. If you can answer it, he is going to be pretty much happy, pretty much satisfied with you. If not, then probably he might be contemplating a switch. In situations where consumers require persuasion and follow-up in the face of competitive pressures, when there are two identical products being sold and you are big way different from the competing product, then you don't have a point of difference. When you don't have a point of difference which is really going to be glorified, which can really be glorified, then probably you have got to really understand that consumers require persuasion. You have got to really go near him, pat them on their back, ask them, can I really expect who are going to be buying this product? And if yes, and doesn't really materialize in real sales, then you have to go for a follow-up action. Why you doing this? You are doing this because you understand that this market is facing a fierce competition. And when you're facing competition, you can't really sit back and relax and expect that the sales is going to happen automatically on its own without any kind of tangible, strong effort from your side. Excuse me. Thank you. So, what is the changing role of sales representatives? So I understand that there is a shift from being engaging speakers to consultants, driven by the increasing importance of personal selling. You are no more a speaker. You are becoming a consultant. You are answering the queries, the doubts, the questions of people around you. This transformation is observed mainly in a well-developed and established companies reaching the consultant stage level. Notably, not every selling task requires this level of consultation. No, it doesn't really happen to even ordinary product like a detergent powder or a soap or a toothpaste or something of that sort. You really don't have to really be a consultant to really try and sell a soap. That is not done. But yeah, if it is a high price product, or if it is a high involvement product, or if it is a highly technical product, then of course you have to become a consultant. What are your strategies for selling? The first thing that really strikes my head is, well, you have got to understand that this is business management. You are going to be managing your business and manage it profitably. You are not really running an NGO, or you are not God or a beast who is not affected by sales really going up or sales really going down. You have to manage accounts and territory strategies strategically. You have to manage your accounts. It is pretty difficult to really generate an account, and if you really do not really kind of manage it well, you never know. It might be just taken up by your next best competitor. Okay, so you have to be smart enough to understand what my account really requires from me. How can I really make him contented? How does he stay with me for a longer duration of time? And how I really try and manage my territories strategically also. So managing your territory strategically requires understanding your territory. What is the territory like? What are the kind of key things that really distinguishes this particular territory from another territory? Why this territory is so special? Why this is really so close to my heart? I should really try to manage my territory strategically. You have to invest your time and expenses in the most profitable opportunities. Expenses, I can understand. I think in today's world, investing your time is more important than anything else. You can invest your expenses, but if your focus is wrong, if your priority is wrong, then your time is really being spent on unnecessary or unrewarding or unprofitable kind of activities, which might be a costly affair, costly mistake for you in the long run. Sell to meet the client's total system and long-term needs, adapting a consultant role. You are not really solving the problem of the client today. You are trying to make him appreciate that you have a problem which is really going to be a long duration problem, and I have a solution which is really going to be a one-stop solution for your kind of problems. That is why I really come to you, or that is why my company really comes to picture. Okay, so you have got to really behave like a consultant, no more a speaker who really speaks about the company's product and services and gets away with it. The next issue that I want to address is your client profit planning strategies. You become part of the client's plan. Don't try to become the part of your own plan. Your own plan doesn't make any difference to client's life. Try to make a difference to client's life. How he is really going to be benefited, that should be your concern. And that is what is really going to be giving you results in the long run. Expand to other departments. Don't try to get stuck in one particular department and expect that this department is going to be giving me all my solutions, all my answers, all my revenues, all my profits, and all my client relationship as long as I'm there. No, you have got to expand from department A to B to C to and many other departments which might be really there in the organization. Find new uses for the product. Now, what are the new uses that you can try and help the customer to understand? How the customer is going to be finding a new use for the product? What difference your product is really going to be bringing to his life. And of course, services become a crucial part of the offer, transform the customer into a client. Service is the reason for which products sell. Don't put it other way around. You are not going to be serving a customer who is not really going to be happy with the service of yours. You are not really selling a product like I told you a few minutes back. You are not selling a physical dimension of the product like the length and breadth and height and weight of it. You are selling the idea this is what the product can really do for you. So you are trying to sell the service component attached to the product, not the product per se. Perceive, classify, and serve the customer's needs. Very easily said than done. You always have this kind of feeling, you always have this kind of Damocles sword on your head. Look, I have been given a target, I have got to achieve the target, or else I may not be able to retain my job, my boss is going to be yelling at me in the evening, or my company may not really try and take a liking for me. So if you are really going to be running with so many negative ideas into your head, then probably you feel that, well, here is a customer, I should really try and make a customer by any means. When I say by any means, you are also trying to forget that the customer is also having his own kind of requirements. He may agree to your viewpoint, he may not agree to your viewpoint. You cannot really go with a no holds barred kind of an attitude to a customer. You have to perceive what exactly is the stage of the customer, what kind of life cycle stage he's in, and how the customer is really going to be responding to me, or why should he respond at all. Had I been in his place, would I have responded the same way that I expect him to respond? So this really requires a building of empathy with the customer. You have to classify the customers and as per their needs. Some customers might be in urgent need of a product, urgent need of a service. Some can really take it, kind of at a later date, and some are absolutely highly unwilling to buy your product, not because they don't have money, but because they are unwilling, or maybe they are willing, but they don't have really money. So you have got to classify customers according to that only. When you classify customers, it really gives you a clarity of your thought. Look, this is how I am going to be dealing with customer A, customer B, and customer C category. Okay, if you do not do it, then you are going to be really trying to be, painting the whole big things in one particular kind of brush, which is not really going to be giving you any kind of tangible outcomes. So what should be your negotiation strategy with the customers? Adjust the product to meet customer needs. Can I really try to give you more of this or less of this or more of that or less of that? That is what you will try to adjust the product about. Understand the immediate and narrow needs of the customer. Sometimes the customer is really not going to be thinking too much far away. He is really thinking of here and now. How does your product will solve my purpose now? If you are going to meet a hungry customer, he really requires food and really requires food at a pretty quick time. You don't really make him wait for 1 hour or so and tell him, look, my hotel is going to be serving the best food possible. You have to wait. No, he doesn't have time to wait for that. He is in a hurry or he is totally hungry. So you have got to try to serve him immediately and try to satisfy the narrow needs of it. Persuasion strategies are another interesting thing. Fit customers into the existing product mix by skillfully overcoming objections. Every product that you will try and pitch, every solution that you try to pitch, there will be always customers who are not really willing to listen to your kind of stuff. They have their inherent desire to really try to pose you questions, reject your offers on basis of A, B, C, or all these lame excuses maybe. But they are willing to do that because they are not going to be listening to your kind of product pitches. They have already made up their mind that I am not going to buy this product come what may. If you find customers who are more in numbers like this, then you can't really help it. But if you have customers who have got genuine concerns, genuine queries, then you can try to nullify that by skillfully overcoming their objections or reasons of saying no. Communication strategies is a pretty important thing. Be a personal communicator, providing product and service information close to the point of the buying decision. If you are answering the wrong questions, then you are creating more problem for the customer. Try to understand what exactly the customer is trying to understand from me. Can I really give him a genuine assurance regarding what my product is all about? If I can, go ahead and do it, because the customer is going to be appreciating the honesty of yours. If your product cannot do a thing, don't really try to make a false claim or a false promise. Yes, my product can also do this. The customer is really becoming pretty smart nowadays. Like I told you, he is going to be figuring out in pretty. So there is no way in which you can really try and say, look, I have a solution for you, which is really not there with you. Don't do this. So what are the types of personal selling? Industrial selling, like it's B2B, very famously known. Business to business, you can sell to resellers, you can sell to business users, you can sell for institutions, you can sell to government. There can be another like retail selling. You are describing activities which are involved in selling goods and services directly to ultimate consumers for personal use. Retailers purchase large quantities from manufacturers and sell smaller assortments as demanded by consumers. Like, people like you and me who are going to be meeting this kind of activities on a daily basis. We go by this retail selling. We are trying to buy products from a retailer. Maybe our small kind of needs, small kind of requirements are going to be fulfilled by retail sellers. And industrial selling is not really done by people who are having the retail outlet and trying to sell to the direct consumers. They can be done for the reselling, resellers selling. You are selling to resellers, or you are selling to the business users, or you might be selling to the institutional sellers, or you might be selling to government, which is totally different. You might be engaged in services selling. You are involving in selling activities or benefits provided to the consumers. For example, unique characteristics of services include intangibility, variability, perishability, and separability, presenting distinct challenges in the selling processes. You are going to watch a movie. Let's say, 5 friends of yours go and watch a movie. You come back and analyze it. Your friend may say, look, the song was pretty good. I was pretty impressed with that. You might say, look, the direction was pretty good. I was pretty impressed with that. Someone else is going to come back and tell, look, the fight sequence was pretty much good. I really enjoyed it the most. Somebody might say well, I just enjoyed nothing about the movie. So intangibility is really what makes the challenge of personal selling pretty much critical. Like, you are going to be selling a service which is not really going to be seen and felt by people. How do you sell it? So that is pretty interesting. That is pretty challenging as well. Like I said, variability can be another reason. For example, no two services can be really delivered in exactly the same way. You go to the bank and you see the lady, customer care executive or customer service, lady sitting at the desk. She smiles at you. There you feel fine. This lady has got this job of smiling at customers because she is welcoming the customers to her bank. That is understandable. But she may not be really equally charming in smiling to all kinds of customers who really pass by. Why? Because this can never be really standardized. A smile is something which can never be standardized. You can't really say that, look, this is the degree to which the movement of the lips is going to be made and that is going to be fixed. It is not really done that way. Fine. Now, there are professional salespersons who can really choose from 5 basic approaches to personal selling. Each one is tailored to different customer interactions. For example, you have first stimulus response selling. Simplest form, where stimuli elicit predictable responses. You are hungry, you are going to go for food. You don't have a pen to write in your exams, you are going to buy a pen. You are going to face an interview board, you don't have a necktie for yourself, you go and buy a tie. Your sister is going to get married, you really require to buy jewelries, you have to go to a jewelry shop. That is a pretty simple way of trying to understand what is a stimulus response selling going to be like. You are going to be utilizing the continued affirmation method, conditioning buyers to answer yes through a series of questions or statements. I have a problem, you have a solution, I will pay you to get that solution. It is as simple as that. Okay. And the second way in which personal selling can be done is mental state selling. Assume that you are having a uniform buying process for most buyers. For example, you have this age-old principle of AIDA model, AIDA model, where A stands for attention, I for interest, D for desire, and A for action, which is going to be guiding buyers through specific mental states. Once your attention is being grabbed, your interest is being created, your strong desire is really being elicited, then you are of course going to get to the last stage, the action stage. You are going to be buying the product let's say imagine that you are seeing a nice brand of chocolate being launched by, and you are really being seeing it in advertisement. Sorry, advertisement, your attention is being grabbed, then you are showing interest for the product. Come on, what the new product is all about. Can I get more information about the product? Which company is launching it? Where is it available and all? Then by knowing all the answer to your questions, you have got a strong desire. Yes, I want to go and buy the chocolate because I want to experiment on the new brand being launched. Once it is being done, then you go to the last stage, at the action stage, where you are in fact going out of your home or you are ordering it online, but you are consuming that chocolate. That is your mental state selling. You are also going to be relying on a highly structured sales presentation with a focus on planning and carefully listening. Now, what is that planning and careful listening? You are going to be focusing on what exactly this sales presentation is going to be telling to you. How from stage one to stage N, or the last stage, the presentation is going to be taking you through the different kind of mental states that you might be experiencing yourself, from attention to action, from presentation stage 1 to presentation stage N. They are all going to be enhancing or elevating your experiences as the presentation goes through. Need satisfaction selling. It centers on the premise that customers buy to satisfy specific needs. Why do I switch on AC? Because it is hot outside. Why I want to eat? Because I am hungry. Why I want to fly? Because I want to curtail my travel time. Simple, very simple kind of examples. Salesperson identifies needs and assists the buyer in meeting them. Sometimes the consumer is really, kind of unknown about his own kind of needs. I mean, you might be struggling to find out, come on, how can I really be in a position where I do not know what I really need? Yeah, it is a fact. Sometimes, you never were really aware that, well, there will come a time where there will be, kind of, extensive use of phone pay and Google Pay and all these kind of UPI payment methods and all. Nobody could really imagine it, few years back. Now this has become a way of life. So the salesperson is going to identify, look, you are not necessarily going to a bank always or sit down with your laptop and try to do this and do that, internet banking and all. You can really quickly will send it to your near and dear ones, instant kind of money transfer and all. So what does that mean? That the customer is not aware that this scenario is even possible. The salesperson was able to identify it and he was assisting the buyer in meeting them. Look, this is phone pay, this is Google Pay, this is XYZ, and this is what it can really do for you. So try it out. And when you try it out and you really feel that, well, this is a successful way in which money transfer can be done, and this is pretty safe and secure. So now you feel that, yes, this is the most convenient way, I should really practice it, and I will never go back to the old-fashioned way of really transferring money. Focuses on the customer, the need satisfaction selling model, using questioning and probing tactics to uncover important needs. Sometimes when the salesperson really keeps on asking you, keeps on questioning you, can you do this? Can you do that? Will you do this? Will you do that? Have you ever attempted this? Will you ever attempt it? These are the kind of probing questions or probing tactics which really help a salesperson to really try and go deep into the psyche of the customer. Sometimes the customer really is going to be answering things which he felt was not really his problem. So he might just get tempted to say no to anything that you really try and ask on surface. But if you really try and insist, go and probe further, you must understand that the customer is also unaware about some of the needs which he feel is really kind of kept within himself. So you have problem solving selling skills, an extension of need satisfaction selling. You have a problem, I have a solution, like I told you before. It goes beyond identifying needs to develop alternative solutions. It involves educating the customer about the full impact of the problem and communicating how the solution adds significant value. It can again be a consultative selling, which is a process of helping customers achieve strategic goals using the products, services, and expertise of the sales organization. This is pretty interesting because nowadays, you are going to be engaging yourself more in consultative selling than in problem solving or other methods that I described. You are focusing on collaboration with customers to not only meet their needs but also achieve strategic goals. It is like the consumer and the seller, they will kind of join hands, collaborate, and try to really take your sales figure up. try to really ensure that your sales is really happening and happening at a brisk pace. This can be done also. So you have different kind of selling situations, like delivery salesperson can be one, inside order order taker can be two, outside order taker can be the third one. Missionary salespeople, you are going to be building goodwill, you are going to be educating users, you are going to be providing services without soliciting orders. Technical salespersons who really require in-depth product knowledge, focusing on product utility and features. And commercial sales, like non-technical sales to businesses, emphasizing approaching the right person, making a smooth presentation, and closing the sale. And the last one, direct sales. It is primarily concerned with selling products and services directly to ultimate consumers, the way it is happening nowadays and happening abundantly. Probably your generation is really going to be witnessing more of this booming and booming to the next level, where the direct sales, the direct marketing is going to be the order of the day. You are going to be emphasizing on emotional appeal and strong persuasive ability of yours. Thank you for being attentive, for listening to this lecture. Thank you all once again.